Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexie, and if you're new to this channel, I kind of do a mix of a little bit of everything kind of content. Mommy content, sometimes some beauty content. Lately I've been doing more reading and book content, so if you like that kind of stuff, then stick around. But today's video is going to be another book video, but this one is going to be a list of or a compilation of my favorite romance reads as of late. These aren't my favorite of all time. These are just the current reads that I've actually really enjoyed, that I loved. They're just great romance books. So those are what we're going to be jumping into. So these are in no way or in any order particularly, but honestly, one of my favorite books from the last few months, I think I read this in December, but one of my all-time favorites, I think this is just the cutest little book, is Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. This book was so fun, it's so sweet. This follows Pepper and Jack, and they end up in a Twitter war because they are in opposite, or one of them is the child of a big chain burger joint, the other one is a child of someone that owns a small deli. And so they start fighting on Twitter. They don't know it's each other, and then they're talking to each other on a anonymous school app, which they don't know they're talking to each other, and then they slowly start making friends in actual reality, in real life. They start becoming friends and falling for each other. So it's just kind of a mix of everything. It's a cute little young adult romance read, with actually, it's just, there's a whole bunch of dynamics. Like I said, you get the Twitter aspects, you get the modern social media feel of it, which is really cute. And then you get the app that was created for people that go to their school, but it's all anonymous. Everybody is given a name of an animal. So it's completely anonymous. They don't know who they're talking to. So you get those kind of aspects, which are fun, but then you get to see their friendship blossom in real life. So I think this is just the cutest little romance. It wasn't too difficult to read. It was a pretty fast read for me, but it was super, super cute. I loved it. So definitely go pick it up. She does have, Emma Lord does have a second one that's actually on my to be read list, or my stack right behind the camera. And that's going to be one of my next reads, so I'm sure that'll be on my list, my next list, whenever I make it. But definitely go pick this up. It was super cute. Okay, next one is The On Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. First of all, it's one of my favorites because look at this cover. This is just one of my favorite covers. It's just so happy and bright, and I don't know, I love it. It makes me so happy looking at it. This book, I can't even tell you everything I love about this book. This was just a fun book. This is a enemies to lovers book, which I believe I would classify Tweet Cute as that too. Yeah, I would say enemies to lovers. This follows Olive and Ethan. They are, Olive's sister and Ethan's brother got married, and Ethan and Olive have hated each other pretty much since the beginning, and since, well, the beginning of when they first met. But in this book, they are forced to play their married brother and sister and go on the honeymoon because everybody in the wedding gets sick. And so you get the enemies to lovers. They hate each other, but then you gotta get to see them change from enemies to lovers. The cutest little story set in Hawaii. So if you're anywhere cold or anything like that right now, this may be a great book to pick up, because then you'll kind of feel like you're in the summertime in the tropics. It might be a little of an escape from the winter weather. So I definitely think this was so fun. It was such a fast read, so quick. Like, this is 395 pages, but I think I finished this in like 3 days. It was so much fun. It was such a great book. I literally stayed up till all hours of the night. I was a zombie the days I was reading this, because I just could not put it down. I wanted to read it. Who needs sleep? That's what I thought of. Who needs sleep? And that's exactly what happened. I just loved this book so much. The enemies to lovers trope is kind of one of my favorites. Because you get to see that they had a relationship before, and then you get to see how it changes. So I love that aspect of this book. And there are a few twists, nothing like crazy, but it was a pretty decent twist for a romance novel. Towards the end, I think it was really fun, because you not only get to meet these characters, but you got to meet the others characters like in their families and stuff, so you get to know more than just the main character. So I think that this was a really fun read, tropical based. Just, I don't know, go pick it up. It's great. I have not read any more of Christina Lauren, but I think I do need to pick more up of hers, because I love this one. I think she has one coming out that looks really good as well. So Christina Lauren is an author that, sorry, you can hear my dog. Christina Lauren is an author that I'm interested in reading more, so I'm definitely going to pick up more of her books, because they just, I don't know, this book hooked me. I loved it. Okay, next book that I recommend is The Roommate by Rosie Danon. Such a fun read. This one was so much fun. So you get steamy scenes in here, because I think it's Josh. What is his name? Josh, yes it is. Wow, that took me forever to find. Josh is a porn star, and Clara is a very innocent, naive girl that moves from the East Coast to the West Coast, ends up as a roommate of Josh, and Josh is a porn star. So Clara kind of gets her world just opens, because she's so used to living this sheltered life. You do everything perfect. You don't do anything wrong, because you don't want to disappoint your family. You don't want to be a scandal. You don't want that. And so she moves away from her family and ends up being Josh's roommate, and learns a whole bunch about the sex industry. And it's like, it's fascinating to her, but also terrifying at the same time. So watching her grow as a person into being a little bit more of an experienced adult, and seeing her grow into a different person that is kind of like, do I care what my family thinks? You know, it's kind of along those lines. And then throughout all of that, they end up falling in love. You get to see Josh change as a person as well. I don't want to get too into detail, but they both change. They come in to the house as, you know, their own people. And then by the end of the book, they're literally completely different. They've changed. And it's really good to see both God, I'm combining their names, Clara and Josh, grow. I don't know. I can't say enough good things about this. Again, this was another fast read. I blew through this one. Just super fun. Romance and rom-coms are kind of where I spend most of my time reading. I don't know, they're so much fun to me. They're kind of like, they're pretty fast reads, so I can get through books. And I don't know, rom-coms are just where it's at for me. But I have been kind of going through, I'm cleaning off my iPad's dirty, and trying different genres. Okay, so the next book that I recently read, I literally just finished it a couple days ago, and I'm obsessed. So the person that recommended this to me is a Bookstagram account on Instagram called Reading with Beans. I'll make sure to link it down below. She recommended this book to me, and it's called The Idea of You by Robin Lee. This is on Kindle. It's available on Kindle Unlimited. Okay, so this book is literally, I was obsessed. Okay, so what is her name? Hold on. God, I can't even think of her name. Lord have mercy. Okay, well, the main character, so the main character of the book is a 40-year-old divorced single mom. And this book follows her and a member of a British boy band who's 20 years old. His name is Hayes. I remember his name. So it's kind of like a, I don't know, people are saying it's a Harry Styles kind of feel. I never was into One Direction or really pop at that time. I grew up on country music because I think One Direction came out end of high school for me. So I didn't really listen to them. They weren't a thing for me. So I don't know, but people are comparing this to like a Harry Styles kind of book, like a Harry Styles main character. And so this follows the single mom, 40-year-old single mom, and Hayes, and they end up like starting a relationship. So it's an interesting aspect because you get the single mom who's divorced, who runs her own art gallery in Los Angeles, and then this British boy band member. And so he's on tour, she's a mom, she's at home doing her own business, and she's, again, 40 and divorced. Now, we all know that a 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old divorced man can go date a 20-year-old woman and it's no problem. But if a 40-year-old woman wants to date a 20-year-old man, that's a big problem. And the social norms of that come out in this book, and it's really kind of ridiculous because, you know, you can in this book you see older men marrying and having children with younger women, but when she's trying to do it, it's a big scandal. Like, people are like, "Oh, really? What are you doing with your life? This is stupid, do." But no one looks at the men. So I think I liked the aspect that this book brought that to light. Like, why are men allowed to do that but women aren't? So it was just a really interesting aspect thrown in there. So you get that. You get her sitting there contemplating, like, should I even date him? Because I'm a 40-year-old single divorced woman, and he's a 20-year-old band member, and should I date him? But I have feelings for him, but I don't know if I should date him. So she's letting everybody else's opinions and thoughts of it get in her head, and it affects the relationship. Now, this story did not end the way that I wanted it to. Unfortunately, broke my heart. I was kind of like stunned when it ended. I was just like, what? Like, you're serious? Is that's how it's ending? Why? But if you get over that fact, it was a really good book. You get the steamy, you know, smutty scenes, but you get the aspect of the famous boy band life, and then you get her art, the art life, you know, someone that owns a gallery. You get to learn a little bit about art and stuff like that. So it was a really, really cute romance. I really, really enjoyed it. It was again, it was a fast read. For me, I blew through this. It was so good. So highly recommend this one because, yeah, it was great. It was great. The ending was not what I wanted, but you don't get everything you want, right? Okay, so these next two, these are a series. The third one's coming out shortly. I'm going to categorize these as a romance. It is a fantasy romance, so it is a fantasy book, but it has a big, romance plays a big role in this book, or these books. If you are on TikTok, YouTube, anything, you know, Instagram, you know what the series is. If you haven't picked it up, go, because, yeah. And this is From Blood and Ash and Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. These two books, holy cow. So these have this like cult-like following. Think of back in the day, like Twilight or Harry Potter, you know, where everybody was obsessed with them. This has that kind of following where, you know, everybody's like, go read it, go read it, go read it. And I was like, I don't know if I want to. One, I have a hard time picking up books that have such a cult-like following because I'm terrified of hating them. Like, the hype is so big and I'm like, I'm gonna hate it, aren't I? I'm gonna hate it and I'm gonna regret reading it. Plus, look at the size of these books. I'm like, these are what, 600 and something pages? Yeah. 600 and something pages in these books. And I was like, you know what? Because what happens is I do not like to DNF. I do not like to not finish a book. I hate it because I feel like if I don't finish it, that I'm not giving its full potential and I'm gonna miss something at the end. So I do not DNF books. That's just my personal feeling. I don't like it. But I'm not saying that you can't. I don't. So I was like, 600 pages, I'm gonna read this book and I'm gonna hate it and I'm gonna regret spending so much time on a 600-page book. Well, I regret not reading it before now. Like, literally, these two books, I'm obsessed. Poppy and Hawk. Like, Hawk is my new book boyfriend. You know, where you get this character that is just like stuck in your head from a book where you're just like, I need more of that character. He's fantastic. He's everything. That's Hawk. I don't know. I love Poppy and Hawk together as a couple. So they're in this magical world. I'm not going to give too much away. They're in this magical world where she's the maiden and he is Hawk. I can't even say who he really is because I don't want to spoil anything. But let's just say they go through many trials in their relationship so far. They overcome so many things that it's not even funny. They end up fighting, they hate each other, they love each other, they're just constantly at war with each other, but then constantly at war with everything around them. So it's a very, very dynamic, confusing relationship, but I love them both. I love them. Both of these books are fantastic. This is the book where they start falling in love. It's the beginning, and then this one just feeds into it. You get to learn more as the time goes on with their relationship. So this was a great one. But first, let's just look at how pretty this cover is. I don't know. I love it. It's just so gorgeous. So the third one comes out next month. I think it's April. Yes. So April. I feel like that's late. I want to say it's this month. I hope it's this month, because if it's not this month, I'm gonna die. Because let's just say that the second book, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, Lord have mercy, holy cliffhanger. Big time cliffhanger, to the point that I was like, oh my god. And if you've read this and you were oh my god and you didn't know, go to Jennifer, the author, her website. The first chapter of the next book is on her website, on her blog. Go read it. It's still a cliffhanger because you want to know more, but go read it. You can get the third chapter, or the first chapter of the third book. So yes, April 20th. So yeah, another almost 2 months. Okay, well that broke my heart. But yes, so these two are a really good romance. If you like fantasy and romance, put these both in. You get some nice smutty scenes from these books. Blood and Ash, just a few. Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, quite a bit more. But these two books are fantastic. I loved them. They were great. Such a fun kind of introduction for me into romance and or into fantasy, not romance, but fantasy with a romantic trope inside. So I love it. Loved it. So, okay. I'm going to stop rambling on about these two because everybody rambles on about them and I don't want to be another one of those. So, I think those are my most favorite current romance reads of right now. These aren't my all-time favorite. I have way too many romance reads. Literally, I'm looking at my shelf right here behind the camera, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 there on that shelf. I have 6 more coming, so that's 15, and I am reading Bridgerton finally, so I have 16 books, 16 romances left to read. Lord have mercy, I better get going. And it doesn't count all of the ones on my Kindle that I have. Yeah, I have probably close to 20 romance books to read, so I'm sure I'll be updating this list at some point, but those are just the ones that I have now. Those are my current favorites. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, I would love to have you stick around and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!